And
it was a confidence because I wouldn't have gone to I'd been to 19 countries by the time I came to America. And the reason I went was because Dave Taylor, Pete Roberts, and Terry Rudge, who were three of the most world traveled heavyweights of all time, and Dave Taylor probably being the most, but Pete Roberts and Terry Rudge putting me in. Oh, and Dalabar Singh is another gentleman who was a huge influence on me. Uh, Tiger Dalabar Singh, or Gil Singh as he is known. These fellas were all international heavyweights, and they put me into all these different places. I knew that I wouldn't have got in. That's not been a big editing. That was from 20. I would
right.
not have been going to Germany. I would not have been going to different African countries. I would not have been going to Egypt. I would not have been going to wherever I was going, and Austria, without being okay at what I was doing and looking the part and acting the part and being a professional. And this is again another stories for other days, but I'd already earned my stripes as a professional. I didn't need anybody. I go to better professionals to ask me if I need any help. So I don't want, we never need to talk about
Sure.
that. Well, there's times when it will come up, but I know because most podcasts are based off
And I wanted to
reading off
explain
that.
it for the
It's not
listeners
my
who
thing.
are conditioned to that, and it's
Yeah.
one thing that makes us different. And another thing that makes us different is, last week 2 weeks ago, you were kind enough to indulge me about one of my favorites, Sami Zayn, and I would like you just to indulge me just for a second as we go through our version of a timeline about my by far favorite wrestler when I was a kid. And I'm in contact with his son Travis because I got to interview him once, and that's Paul, Mr. Wonderful Orndorff. Um,
Right.
what can you tell us about, because I don't know when we're going to talk about him again. So
Okay.
what can you tell us about Mr. Orndorff that made him such a great source for you that you could just take to the
Okay.
bank what he said?
Um, First of all, I'm be very open about this. Last year, that knocked me sideways when Paul had passed away, because he was so helpful to me, and he didn't have to be, but he was from day one. He he, he was there for me whenever I needed any, or I'd ask him. But it helped me. But the biggest thing was watching him, how intense he was, and there's certain things that he did that was so like aggressive, and he's just like a machine. And just being around him again, it's that pro thing of being around certain pros. He was, always training, and we talked a lot about the way, because they used to see me doing lots of Hindu squats. He didn't do that many at the time, but he talked about that again. It was just from day one talking about he's seen me doing it, and that was my thing all the way through my career. It's still to this day,
Even
that's what I
today,
do.
you've told me you did
Yeah,
or I saw on Twitter, you were doing a certain number of Hindu squats every day,
yeah,
right?
and I do them. So that's what I do. But he was telling me about how he got into the job through Hiro Matsuda and Ron Simmons has told me the same stories. When I think certain pros who've gone through certain things seem to get on with each other. They had the life, and as I say, getting the granny battered out of
Yeah,
you.
it's a
They had,
shared experience,
yeah, they had the granny battered out of them to get into this job, and I had the granny battered out of me to get into this job, right?
the
And
granny
and
battered out of you. That's
yeah, well, it's just that me having the life battered out,
oh, I get it. Yeah,
and put through the ringer.
yeah.
And they did it going through Hiro Matsuda. I did going through what I did, and then or more so, or continuing, but never not thinking it was a bad thing, just thinking that was the way it was, and that's what. And we're also. I'm only 24 when I come to America, but I had to be a grown man very quickly. I wasn't till I was, but when I was 17, I had to grow. We'll get into again another podcast. I had to grow very quickly, or else I wouldn't be here. Right? That there was things that I would nearly quit over, but I sort of just had to figure a way out to get through because I was getting put through it in this job. That's okay, and I have no ill will to anybody that did that or anything that happened, because it made me who I am. and it got me to where I've got to. Some people misinterpret that and might think I'm not moaning about what I went through. I wouldn't change
Sure.
any of it. It made me and got me to where I am. It learnt me a lot of things, sometimes not what to do. If nothing else, we've talked about this before. Open your eyes. No bad experiences. If it's a bad experience, just if you keep your mind open, okay, what can I take not to do out of this? How can I not to treat somebody? Right? I remember the people who did things to me. But it taught me something. Right? If it's just getting a good kicking, it taught me how to react very well in a wrestling match.
Sure.
Right? I'm known for being pretty, within the pro community. I'm pretty good at as the term. I don't like these things, but I'm going to have to say I'm selling.
Right.
Right? It's not, and I can do it in many forms.
You were great at reacting. I mean, everyone knows you
Reacting.
were a
I
great
prefer
reactor.
the term reacting
Absolutely.
because as you get better at this, you should learn how to react and not sell. You
Sure.
start off selling, but it's like an actor. You learn to react, not act, because otherwise it looks like acting. And sometimes that is a necessary part of this, but it's going
React
with it.
instead of act,
Act.
because if
Yes.
you act, it looks like acting, but if you're
Yeah.
reacting, it looks real? Is that kinda what you're saying?
Or it doesn't have to always look, it just looks better.
Right, okay, okay,
Right. Right.
right.
Again, different podcasts, all these things, keep note of them because we can go into on the question and answer things. If anybody
Absolutely.
keeps note of this, we can expand on them. But if I start now, we'll be here for 5 hours,
Oh, yeah.
right? Or 10 hours. It's just things that we need to keep. And please, everybody, if you're interested in what we're doing with this podcast, keep little notes on these things I say, because we need to revisit them all. There's so much to revisit, especially for the young wrestlers who are listening. There's so much to revisit. I want to go here, have all this. It, the people like Daniel Bryan and Claudio, and there's lots of others have been around me a lot. This is how I talk. You can't just, there's no simple answers. To me, if somebody's giving you a simple answer, they haven't really done that much, right? They
Yeah.
can just give you a quick formula how to do something. They haven't done that much, or they're better at they're just more. Maybe they're just better at putting things into terms of. I know I'm not.
Well,
I can't give concise answers to things. I just I give every experience. You have to be around me a lot to get all these things, because I can look in somebody's eyes when I'm talking to people now, and I know whether they're getting something or not. Right? If I've got a group of people, I'm going, that's not clicked with him. That hasn't. That's so I'll explain. I've seen it this way, and I've seen it because I have. It's not that I'm any good or I know what I'm doing. I've just seen a lot of different ways, and it can all work. It can all work. It can come from many different ways. There's no right or wrong way of doing anything. There's just certain ways of, and certain people can do it one way and certain another. There's things that I see that bother me when I watch wrestling. We talked about pins the other week.
man, you changed my sure.
Paul was a massive help to me, along with the people I've mentioned and
Very
many others. There's so many, right? Within a few months of me being in WCW, Ric Flair came back. Well, then I've got Rick, and not only came back, but we we got on great, and so
Mhm.
I, I've got him to to watch and
Right,
ask, and
right.
I've stood in. Part of my last few years of my life before I came to America was traveling the world, right? And we've talked about squats. Well, in 1989, I started getting more stuff. And